Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Caruccio, and I am the chairman of the Winthrop Republican Town Committee. So before we get started, what I would like to do is I would like to thank you all for attending. Anybody who's watching this on videotape, a WCAT, or on one of our social sites, thank you for tuning in. And certainly I want to thank the candidates who are in front of me for taking the time and the effort to meet the Winthrop voters and let them know what they stand for so the people in Winthrop can make an informed and educated decision. I think it's underrated the importance of our local representatives because they're the ones who directly affect our everyday life. And if you notice, and at least one of the questions that we ask, our local representatives have tremendous power, not only over our lives, but our pocketbooks. So it's important to know where they stand and align yourself intelligently with the candidate of your choice. So I, again, want to thank them all for attending. Unfortunately, it's not 100% of the candidates. Some of the candidates had obligations, some had medical or work issues, and maybe there was one or two that really didn't think it was important enough. But it's important to speak to each of you, the candidates, and find out what the reason for their behavior. So, as I mentioned, I am the chairman of the Winthrop Republican Town Committee, but I want to stress this is a non-partisan event. The only motivation that we have as a Republican committee is to ensure that we live in the best community possible. And we can only do that by listening to the candidates who are going to represent us. So thank you for attending. I certainly do appreciate it. Shortly, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our moderator. And I want to thank our moderator tonight, who is WBZ TV Chief Investigative Reporter Cheryl Fiandaca. And I want to stress that I want to thank Cheryl and WBZ for attending our meeting and giving it the air of importance which it so deserves. But I do want you to understand that, you know, the views and opinions that either we express here or the candidates express do not belong to Cheryl or WBZ TV. So we did ask the community to supply questions for review to ask the candidates, and we have come up with questions for all the candidates except for the library trustee, who will be giving an address to the audience. So after this meeting, you could go to the Winthrop Republican Town Committee to find out how to see the video, WCAT, and you'll see it on social media sites. So right now, I'd like to turn the evening over to our moderator, WBZ Chief Investigative Reporter, Cheryl Fiandaca.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Paul. And thanks to the Winthrop Town Republican Party. As Paul said, this is not a partisan event. It's just an opportunity for voters to be able to meet the candidates, get to know a little bit about them in case they don't know, get to know a little bit about what they think about the issues, and then you make your own decisions about who you think you best align with and you want to support. So just a little bit about the rules for tonight. I think it's kind of like a casual event. It's a small venue, and we appreciate that. So what we'll first do will be to ask each of the candidates to have 2 minutes to just say whatever they would like to say about their candidacy, about who they are, what they stand for, what they care about, and what that would mean to all of you in the Winthrop community. After that, there will be a few questions for the town council and the school committee folks. And then after that, there'll be a little mingling session, so anybody who wants to speak to people individually will be able to do that. We would ask that, you give folks the opportunity to be able to say what they want. I know that they might not align with what you think, but just give them the respect and opportunity. That would be awesome. So what we'll probably do now is start off with the library trustees, and Annie Ferreira will be the first up, and she'll be able to tell you a little bit about herself.
Hello. First of all, thank you, Paul, and the Republican Town Committee for hosting us tonight. My name is Annie Ferreira, and I am running for library trustee. There are 3 open positions. I think I'm the only one who's running. I wanted to come and introduce myself. I think reading and books and libraries are really important to our community. I've been in Winthrop since January, and I am so impressed with this town and its people. And by doing this, I'm hoping I can give back a little bit to the community, whatever I can do to help. I think that we are at a point where when I grew up, a library was essential. You had to go there to do your research for your projects. And now there's so many other places you can get your information, your cell phone, your tablet, your computer. And I think that we're at the point where we need to really think about how our library can best serve us, honoring the traditions of the past and moving forward into the future. And I look forward to continuing all of the traditions that the library has. There's so many events. If you go to their website or on their Facebook page, there's always something. So I really look forward to helping the library and meeting more people in Winthrop. Thank you.
Thanks, Annie. And if anyone wants to come up and use the podium, if more comfortable, please feel free to do that. Our next candidate that will speak now will be Zachary Puritan, and he is running for school committee, and I think he'll tell you a little bit about himself and what he's all about.
There we go. Hi, I'm Zachary Puritan. I live over on the edge of the maze, and I've been a Winthrop resident for almost 6 years now. I have a daughter who is in 3rd grade at ATC and absolutely loves walking to school every day. I spent 2 years on the GFB Site Council and saw what was possible to influence in the schools, and when an open seat came up in school committee, I thought it would be a great idea to push forward and see how I can help influence the school system to become better and make it a place we want to keep our kids.
Thank you, Zachary. Next is Town Council, Suzanne Swoop.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Swope. I moved into Winthrop in 2007, so I've been here for a while. Professionally, I've been a vice president and a tenured faculty member at Emerson College. I then left Emerson, went to George Mason, it's a large public, where I worked for a while and then came back to Emerson. I don't know what happened, it's just Boston, I think. But I did work in physical plant a lot, worked in personnel. I've done a lot of different things in administration. So that's my kind of professional career. I've also served at Seal Harbor, where I live. I'm there. I've served on their committee, the Board of Trustees, and I've been on the school committee for almost 6 years now. It'll be 6 years in January. And I've loved it. It was great. Now, why am I running for town council when I love the school committee? Well, I have 4 areas that I really have talked about, and please, anytime, come up and take a look at my brochure, because I've tried to lay them out in the brochure. First of all, I care about the environment a lot. And I think we have a beautiful gem in the ocean, on the ocean, not in the ocean, I hope. On the ocean, and I hope to keep that safe and sound. As far as the school's concerned, I think we need to continue to support them. A great town has to have great schools, and I will continue to do that as I have done for the last 6 years. The operating budget is in critical need, continuing to support increased revenue. Hopefully we can find more grants, we can find more opportunities to fund both our schools as well as our infrastructure. Our infrastructure, as you know, as you're walking around and as you're trying to drive around, you may know we need a lot of work in that regard. So I'm hoping that we continue to support these areas as well as others, and I appreciate your inviting us, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next up is Town Council for Precinct 2, John Munson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I wanted to be brief. We only have 2 minutes, so I have to be brief. But I'm running for re-election of Precinct 2 Town Councilor. I've been there. It'll be 2 years as of January 2024. But in addition to being somewhat experienced in town councilor, as a town councilor, I've also been a resident for 20 plus years. I started off on Washington Avenue, a nice condo overlooking the ocean, which is why a lot of people come to Winthrop. But now I've fallen in love with it for so many more reasons. I have 2 kids that have gone through the school system, including my daughter, Sophia, who's graduated and now at Salem State, going to be a teacher, so I'm proud of her. But my son is also a sophomore here, and the school and the town has been good to us. We have a lot of family members that have moved here as a result of us moving here. It's been wonderful. It's a very vibrant community, and it's a safe place to raise kids, and I hope to be a part of the continuous evolution of this town. Some of the things I have accomplished in the first 2 years, or we've accomplished, because nothing is singular, no one person's doing anything. We're one of 9. But as a Precinct 2 councilor, I've listened to my constituents, I've advocated for them. We've gotten some real beautiful things like crosswalks and concrete bollards, and mitigated some flooding. This sometimes comes as a result of being the squeaky wheel, but I think that ultimately why I think that I need to get one more term is to finish some major things, and we have to redevelop that old middle school, get a new firehouse built, and also to keep this town safe and to keep it as beautiful as it has been for my whole family. So thank you, and I hope I can get your vote on November 7th.
Thanks, John. Next up for Precinct 2 is Mark Chapdelaine.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Mark Chapdelaine, and I am a candidate for Town Council in Precinct 2. I've been in Winthrop since 2011 with my wife, Christina. We've since welcomed 3 kids, ages 5, 7, and 9. Fully invested in the town schools. I've jumped in this race for a couple of reasons. One, I think the middle school site needs to be a world-class, first-class facility. I think it's something that we're on the right track to do, and we got a little bit more work to get there, though. The firehouse needs to be built, whether the voters say yes or no. It's something we need as a community to address, and I look forward to be part of that. In addition, I'm running because both our MWRA contract and our Massport contract are coming due June 30th of 2025. Presuming I'm elected and I'm sworn in on January 1st, we need to get to work on that negotiation. That's not something we walk in on the 11th hour and try to do what's best for Winthrop. We need to start on day one for that. I'm prepared for this job, and I'm an attorney by trade. My office is here in French Square. I've served as a president, I've served as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, representing our businesses and advocating for our businesses. In 2018 to 2021, I was chaired the Board of Licensing. I was, I think, somewhat instrumental in getting all of our businesses reopened on June 5th of 2020 when the governor gave us the green light. Council President Lettieri asked me to serve as the chair of the Ordinance Review Committee last year. In doing so, I led a comprehensive review of the town's charter, rules, and ordinances that allowed us to, actually the 4 items on the ballot this time is from that work. Two in particular is having an abandonment clause added to our charter and having a recall provision added to our charter. And what that will do is it'll create greater transparency and greater accountability for all of our elected officials. And I think I've overspoke, so I hope that I can earn your vote come November 7th.
Thanks, Mark. Next up for Precinct 2, Town Council, is Kurt Millar.
Hello, my name is Kurt Millar. My family's been here for generations and part of this community, both being in business and in politics. And I do not throw out who my family is because I'm running on my own. Another point is that I'm also going to be the only candidate who has refused to take donations. And my reason being is that our town, the people of our town, have been taxed and feed. I feel guilty that that is occurring right now. And one of my drives to keep me going and wanting to be in this precinct, for the seat for the precinct, is that I want to help alleviate some of that by identifying lines in the budget that could potentially help our citizens. We do need more revenue. There are different streams that we can accomplish obtaining. We're going to speak of probably one tonight. But there are different avenues. We can look at our budget lines, how we can move things around appropriately to help both the school and our citizens with our taxes. Again, yes, we need revenue, which ties into some of my background. My background, I actually work at Gillette in South Boston. I've been there over 16 years. And in my career, I started off as an injection molding technician. Learned that. I got brought into a job in HS&E, health, safety, and environment. So I know about sustainability. I've helped implement plans for the company. I've also, for safety, OSHA requirements, part of that. And then I moved on into another role called maintenance planning. I was a maintenance planner. And I feel our town is lacking that. Every time we come out with a grant or build a new building, we do not have a full-blown maintenance plan and what it will cost us over a length of period of time. I think we've seen that, and we need to address that before we have another building put up that we can't fully maintain. Speaking of the firehouse on that end of it. Another aspect of my job I moved into where I am now managing a $7 million budget. And it looks like I have to wrap up. So I do have a background in this to sit on the seat and move us forward.
Next, one of the candidates at large, Todd Sacco.
Thank you. I hope to be much briefer than everybody else. But first, I want to point out, if you add up the years in town of the first 4, and I think you too, it doesn't match my half a century plus living in Winthrop. Just thought I'd put that out there. Look, most of you know who I am. I'm Todd Sacco, running for Councilor at Large, married to the beautiful Elisa Sacco, the former secretary of the Gorman Ford Banks, and 2 of the best kids that Winthrop has to offer. They say that your children are a reflection of you. I could not be more proud of who my 2 boys are and what that says about me and my wife. And I'll leave that at that. As far as what I stand for, look, I'm about fiscal responsibility and transparency. Okay, I'm about, yeah, we have big problems and big challenges facing us. We have the fire station, we have the middle school, we have affordability. I'm very concerned about affordability for our workforce. Our teachers, our firefighters, and our police and our DPW cannot afford to live here. I'm a poor kid from East Boston. I grew up with welfare cheese and peanut butter. Not always. I'm not trying to cry, that I had it real hard, but I had it hard enough to know. And Winthrop was a gem to me when we moved here. I had a widow's peak, a widow's watch, and a beach down my street. So I'm here to bring back the promise of Winthrop. I can't wait to get to work on the challenges ahead of us. I am for this fire station. I think we need to make it happen, but I'm also for finding ways to get it paid for through our negotiations with MWRA that are up and coming. So I look forward to serving you because I have no intention of losing this election. Thank you very much.
And the last candidate to speak will be Jim Lettieri, who is the council president.
Thank you. I would like to first thank WRTC for hosting this event once again, and for Cheryl for moderating. It's a great way for the public to get more personal glimpse of each of the candidates. My name is Jim Lettieri, and I'm running for re-election for Winthrop Town Council President. Very fortunately for myself, I'm running unopposed. So I would like to think it's a reflection of the town's support of the efforts I've shown and the results that we've seen. However, it could also be that just nobody wants the job. But all kidding aside, it's a very big step for anyone, and I applaud all the candidates for putting their name on a ballot, especially in a small town. I've been on the town council since its inception 18 years ago, and I am truly honored to have had the opportunity to serve the town I love. My wife Dawn has been a teacher in Winthrop Public Schools for 39 years, and we have 2 grown children, Jake and Jenna. Our town has made many advances over the past couple of years, including hiring a new town manager, putting together a new finance team, strengthening our bond rating, continuing to focus on significant infrastructure projects throughout the town, and over the past several months, proposed an incredibly much-needed new fire station. We've also proposed over the last couple of months a plan for the middle school, a plan which will bring much-needed economic stimulus to local businesses while also generating revenues to our town without burdening our school systems. You will hear much more about that plan over the coming months. Again, I thank you for coming and enjoy the evening.
Well, thank you to all the candidates, and now we'll start off with a couple of questions, and we'll start with school committee. We only have one candidate who's running for school committee that's here tonight, and that candidate will have 30 seconds to answer each of these questions. Let's start with this first one. The U.S. Department of Education is proposing to redefine the meaning of sex to include gender identity. What are your thoughts on that? The Department of Education is... Yeah, I don't... We didn't get to you yet, but if you want to know the question...
My own question. So I think it's great that the government is moving forward with such a progressive stance on the subject. But looking over the documentation, they do leave it up to the school systems to develop the plan for the eligibility of the players to be on the team. So they have set a set of guidelines through Title IX, and the school working with the coaches and the administrative staff, it's up to the town and the staff to figure out how to sort that out while falling into the guidelines.
And a second question for you as well. The next generation of MCAS tests in 2023 shows Winthrop schools are performing about average. 52% of the students are meeting expectations, and 31% of the students are not meeting expectations or only partly meeting those expectations. Thoughts on that?
Well, with a daughter who's in 3rd grade who is going to have her first year taking the MCAS, and the child of a longtime 6th grade teacher, the MCAS has been kind of the bane of the school's existence. I think it's a great measuring tool to see how the schools in Massachusetts are doing compared to themselves. And with Winthrop kind of in the middle, Massachusetts is the highest ranked public school state in the country. So middle of the pack of the #1 state, still doing a lot better than being the top rank in a bunch of other states. I think part of the issue with not having higher numbers has to do with the lack of ability to retain teachers, and staff can provide a breadth of education for the students.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to town council questions, and there are 2 questions for town council members. We'll start with the first one, which everyone's pretty much already mentioned, which is the fire station. The question is, do you think you need a new fire station? What do you think the location should be, and how should it be funded? So we will start off, I'll start with you, Jim. I'll bring you to the front this time.
Well, I did hear that, and I am absolutely for the fire station in its proposed location. Over the past, well, the 2 firehouses, one's 140 years old and one's 115. So the thought of a need for the firehouse, I think that is not even a question that needs to be answered. I think everybody understands there's a need. We have come up with a plan that I think is financially prudent, and I think it's by far the right time, and I think it's the right place, and it looks towards the future. The plan is going to be funded by the taxpayers, but I think as has been alluded earlier this evening, it is something that we could take a look at and look as we're going to new contracts with the MWRA and Massport. Well, 30 seconds.
I know, it goes by fast.
Fire station's a big story.
So Todd, we're going to pass the mic over to you with the same question.
Oh my God, same question. Can I just pick up where you left off?
Sure.
Wish I knew what you were going to say. I think I've already alluded to the fact that I am for this fire station. To dovetail off of what, what's your name? Jim said, that it's not a question of if it's needed, it's absolutely needed. How do I feel about the location? I could pick on any location. I could make excuses not to build it at the old middle school, which people like. I could make excuses not to build it on Winthrop Street. I could make excuses or make an argument to build it on Revere Street. It's where it is right now, and the beauty of this current situation is it really doesn't matter what any of us say. My vote doesn't matter, so I'm not sure why this is even a question. The people get to decide, and that's what government, that's democracy at work right there, and that's what we all should be happy about.
All right, I guess my turn. So to back up right off from what Todd said, we're going to be voted in, so we don't have much influence on to people's choices right now. So everybody feels that the fire station is needed. The funding for it is questionable, how we can get the proper funding for it. And not only that, I've heard the people across town not happy with the location. So that really kind of needs to be discussed too. So the vote will determine how people really feel about that location, in my opinion. I think that was about 30 seconds.
Thank you. I am for the fire station. As Town Council President alluded to, MWRA contracts for 3 things: fire, police, and infrastructure. We need to get to the table, and we need to get more. They need to be a partner in this. Just because we vote for this, and we as the taxpayers agree to a $40 million expenditure, does not mean we need to spend, as a town council, $40 million. We need to find ways to lessen the burden of our taxpayers, and there's ways to do it. I've toured the fire stations, both of them, on multiple occasions. I've talked to the chief, the past chief, the deputy chief. I've talked to the firefighters. We need a fire station. The downstairs bathroom doesn't even have a sink in it. They have no way of showering 10 guys in an hour as required by the regulations. So that's where I stand on that. Thank you.
John Munson, re-election for Precinct 2. I am for it. I'm strongly for it. We unanimously voted as a town council to support this cause, and it's because it's A, a strategic location being on a cut-through on Winthrop Street, and B, it's staggering the cost of a public safety building. Instead of having one public safety building of $80 million, we're doing the firehouse first at around 35, 40, and then the police down the road. There's a major objections are, what about the tenants, the businesses? Patsy's business has been a major institution. We are making sure every business is accounted for. And the other big objection is why not the old middle school where we own that property? You can't, in my opinion, replace a revenue generating opportunity with an expense. We have some great plans there. Thank you for letting me go over by 5 seconds.
Suzanne Swope, running for Precinct 4. I have 2 grandchildren. I wouldn't let them stay 1 minute in the firehouse. They love Winthrop Public Schools, but they wouldn't love that. It's asbestos, it's mold, it's everything that everybody else has said. We need a new fire station. One would be great. I am having at where I live, both Jim Lettieri and Scott Wiley come to Seal Harbor tomorrow night, because I'm not sure that people are convinced about what they need to vote on. So we'll be having a round table there, and I hope that we can convince people what we need to do here.
Thank you. And the next question is about taxes. The governor is proposing a new real estate sales tax on properties over $1 million. The fee would be subject to local approval. Are you in favor or not, and why not? And Jim, we'll start back again with you.
Yeah, this is an additional tax on, basically on real estate transactions over $1 million, an additional percentage, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. To have just an additional tax and there's no set guideline as to where that money goes. And nowadays, I mean, $1 million is a lot of money, but nowadays there's houses selling in Winthrop for $1 million. And a lot of those people selling those houses are people that are getting towards retirement age, that have saved and spent down their house and trying to get money for their retirement. And now they're going to be taxed at a ridiculous rate after that, on top of that $1 million. So I am absolutely 100% against that. I have 10 seconds left. I'm going to go back to the fire station and say that there is no perfect project. This town supported 3 schools over the last 20 years, and it needs to support this fire station.
41 say, read my lips. Read my lips. No new taxes. The bottom line here is, to dovetail off of your point, Jim, a lot of us, myself included, and I'll go back, I lived in a back alley house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 5 people. I scratched and saved to buy my house. I've had to refinance because of recent economic conditions. I should not be taxed more. I'm already paying taxes as it is on the house. How much more tax you want to get out of me? I want to leave something behind for my family. So no, it's a non-starter.
Sounds like we're so far all unanimous on this. So I myself also am against this, although I see the potential revenue that it could help with our schools and our community. I just don't feel it's the proper tax for our town to make a decision on and to add to what the people of town are already paying for taxes and fees.
Thank you. This is not a tax on the millionaires. This is a tax on the middle class, first and foremost. The money's not going to the schools. It's going to more affordable housing. What we need to do is look at the affordable housing we have in town now, and we need to look at replacing it possibly and making it better and taking the steps we need. For instance, in Precinct 2, those houses, they were built for veterans. There's very few veterans there. They've lost their preference. We need to go back to what affordable housing is meant to be and get back to our roots as a community. But this is definitely not a tax I would support. It is a tax on the middle class. 18% of houses over the last year, the sales, would have been subject to this tax. That's our prices now. As our prices grow over the next 10 years, this tax is still going to be there.
I reviewed it. There's something like 200 provisions on this bill. It's a $4 billion bill, and this provision is one of 200. It's most likely never going to get past our legislative process, and so I don't think it's even come to us. And even if it did come to us, we still have the choice to actually deny it or approve it. In general, if you had to ask if it did get presented to us, I would say no. I don't think that it's necessary. I do agree with you, though, it would go to affordable housing, so it's actually not in our control to what we would do with that money. So I would say no. But since I have a few seconds left, I will say one last thing about the firehouse. We owe it to the firemen to get a new firehouse. Thank you very much.
I agree with John. This bill is in the initial phases. It's a $4 billion bill. It hasn't gone through the legislature. It hasn't gone anywhere yet. They have a lot of work to do on this bill. Whether it ever comes in this form, who knows? So I'll be looking at that. We can't put any more affordable housing in this particular town. We need maybe housing, but we don't necessarily we don't have enough room to build a lot of housing. So how many residents of Winthrop would this affect, and in advance, how would we support it? And it's going to housing, and I'm not sure we have the room for it. But let's look at this bill, because there may be other opportunities in it for us.
So that concludes this section of the evening, including questions and all. I hope you learned something. I hope the candidates were enlightening. I hope they shared their views enough with you that you're able to make some decisions, or at least mingle a little bit after and get a chance to talk to them about any other questions that you might have. Big thank you to Paul and to the Winthrop Town Republican Party for inviting me. I appreciate it. And I'll turn it over to Paul. Safe travels home, everyone.
Well, I don't really have much more to say other than once again thank everybody for attending, and certainly thank all of the candidates that believed how important it is to let the constituents and the community know where they stand on the vital topics that you will be challenged with today and in the future. So I would like to invite everybody to stay and mingle, and you can ask the candidate of your choice or several candidates your specific questions. Thank you all for attending.